Hello, and welcome to 97.9 Unity Radio, the best sports show in the 508 Moneyline. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. And with me, as always, the best influencer, the new great YouTube channel of all time. We're going to build his numbers. We're going to have 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, well, we're almost there.
Coach Schuman, we're almost there.
We're at 24,000 away now.
Yes, we're right there. And our guest of honor, he was a dominant player at UConn. He has a Super Bowl ring, played several years in the NFL, and now he is the owner of Pro Level Recovery down in Georgia, Mr. Andrew Adams. Andrew, hello.
What's going on? Thanks for having me.
So first off, I just wanted to get your thoughts because you are a former New York Giant. They are playing disastrously bad this season.
I watched the second half of the Carolina game.
So what are your thoughts on the Giants in general? What are your thoughts on the team?
On the Giants or on the current team?
The current team.
Oh, I guess the record reflects, I don't know, their play.
You've watched them. Do you think
they haven't played the best, right?
Yeah.
I'm just not a big negative person. Sorry.
No, I get it. Yeah. I get it. You don't want to talk poorly about them,
right?
Because you were part of the organization, and I get that. I get that completely. But as far as you see with like Daniel Jones and some of the issues on defense, do you think it can be fixed? Do you think there's still time that they can rectify some of the issues that they're having?
What is your definition of being fixed?
Well, offensively, they don't score points. Daniel Jones struggles in the passing game. I think Neighbors is playing great. I think Slayton's doing a good job. I think they found a great running back in Tyrone Tracy Jr. It's just they haven't put it all together.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's other people doing great except for the quarterback.
Yes, it does sound like there's other people doing great besides quarterback. He's put me in my place already.
You're right. My question is, Andrew, for you. Did you have Nick? Was Nick Rapone coaching when you were with Tampa?
That is my guy.
That's his guy. Yeah.
That was my defensive coordinator when I played at UConn.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome guy. Great guy.
He's a great guy. No better guy. Salt of the earth guy, man.
Yeah, for sure.
What he says, he means. You know what I mean? What he means, he says.
Oh yeah, he's the ultimate professor, teacher. I would say.
Yes. I wanted to ask that because I saw you with them when they won the Super Bowl, and I know Nick's been with them for a long time. I'm assuming he's still there. I don't know.
Yes, he's still there.
Yeah, he is. He is still there. He's still there.
I haven't talked to him in a couple of years since once I stepped away from when I was an agent for 6 years with so I talked to him obviously every year. He'd bring guys up, but yeah. I was curious if you played for him.
Yeah, I did. Yep. For I think that was 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, we still talk probably twice a year. Definitely during the season and probably 1 or 2 times in the off season.
He's amazing. He always gets back to you no matter what. That's just how he is. I've been around a long time, you know what I mean? And not every coach you play for is like that. He's like that.
He is a great guy.
So
I interrupted your questioning about the Giants.
I was just curious as to
that there. The Giants, Summary: Giants stink. Daniel Jones doesn't complete enough passes.
No, I mean it's just hard. It's just hard to watch. It's because he mentioned they were one of his favorite organizations to play for. He's been with them a couple times before he went down to Tampa. So I asked, because he had spent time with them.
Right.
And
they're not doing well right now. They've had a few front office changes, coaching changes, right?
Yeah, no, they have. They went to Dayball and they went to Joe Shane as the general manager. Did you have any thoughts on Saquon Barkley? Whether letting him go was the right move, or should they have tried to retain him?
Obviously, if you have a good player like that, why would you let him walk out the door? That's me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's chips in the bucket to the owners. I understand it's a business. Try to get the most bang for your buck. Salary cap. This guy's cheaper. That guy's cheaper.
Yeah. Right.
But that's the NFL. And that happens so many other situations too, right? You think you can get something better for cheaper or replace, et cetera. But, the grass isn't always green on the other side. Really, invest in what you have almost. Rosters always turn over. That's the NFL. Try to retain as much of the roster as you can and, get better that way.
No, I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I wanted to ask also about the New York Football Jets. The New York Football Jets. They've been down as late. Do you see them? They picked up Devontae Adams. Do you see them? Getting Breece Hall involved more with them offensively and catching fire, turning things around in the division, and making a run at either a wild card spot or they'd be a wild card spot at this point. Do you think they have the capability to do that?
I'm not saying they can't, but if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet on it. I would say that. Obviously they have good players, like you say, Breece Hall, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. But you still have to go out there and play and prove it. It's the NFL. Everybody's
Right.
good. Just because the guys on the other side of the ball aren't, named Devontae Adams doesn't mean that they aren't just as capable of playing at as high of a level as Devontae, right? Or Aaron or the other guys. So, just because, these names, pop up on the ticker doesn't mean that the team's going to be good. So, yes,
Yeah, I hear you.
They can get it together, but they haven't shown that they're going to get it together. So I'm going to go with what I've seen versus what can be, so to speak.
Right. That's a big thing. That's the thing that they seem to lack, the Jets, so you can put all the stars together, and if there's not a chemistry, obviously the coach got fired mid-season. That has an impact on the defense, especially since he was a defensive guy, right? So now you have the defense maybe not quite as bought in, and things don't go well, and people are still people, you know what I mean? So even though they're obviously pro athletes, it's a thing when things aren't going well. Who's going to be the unifying person in that locker room, right? Because the head coach is an interim, and the offense isn't clicking. And to me, it looks like Aaron Rodgers, obviously his release is still lightning quick, but he really, it looks like in his head, he still could move as quick as he used to be able to move, but he really just can't, he just can't, and I don't know if it's the Achilles, maybe it takes a little more time. That's a difficult injury. for him to get back. But he is older. I mean, that part of it, one of the things that made him special is the ability to buy time and get rid of the ball. And it looks like every time he has the opportunity to buy time, he's getting sacked and having a hard time getting rid of the ball quick enough. And that has an impact. I mean, it is what it is, right? Football is, as you know, is a tough sport, right? As you get older, it gets harder and harder to keep the body, where you were and to continue to get better.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, mobility definitely plays a factor, age and coming off an injury, right? So, he's not, 25, even 30-year-old Aaron Rodgers, right? So you have to take that into account.
I also wanted to ask about your old squad, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield comes in. He's kind of the surprise of the league. Last year he has a great season, signs a contract, and they're fighting, they're battling in the NFC South. They've been down with some injuries to their receivers, but do you see them eventually making a run when they get healthy and potentially winning that division, the NFC South?
I think they can win the division. Obviously, the two receivers going down hurts a lot. But I've seen, that some of the other guys stepping up, Sterling.
Yep.
Seen him step up. Some of the other guys, I forgot their names. But yeah, Baker's been, a gamer. He'll put, some bad stuff out there every now and then, but he also makes some crazy plays, that are game changing, and he can win games. So, and then another thing is they're coached well. So I think when it comes down to it, and they have all their pieces healthy, they can definitely win the division.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I feel that way too when they're fully healthy. Dave, what are your thoughts on Tampa?
Well, I watched the game the other day, and I mean, they Baker Mayfield. First of all, I think they're overall a pretty good team. I mean, I think they're a pretty good team. I just think the
running backs look good.
Yep, they're very close to being a really good team. They're very close. Like Baker Mayfield, I don't know if you saw the play, the sequence that he had at the end of the game. A couple of those plays, the play where Nick Bosa is pulling at his arm, he's stiff arm, and he gets rid of the ball. I mean,
I don't know why
Nick
didn't just pull his arm down.
I think you're right. Great point.
Just drop your weight. Drop your weight. He goes down.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious as to why he did it. I mean, I don't know. The heat of the moment, but you're right. It made it into a magnificent play. That's the first thing I was thinking. Is he's obviously going to be stronger, but my guess is that Baker must be strong for his body weight.
I mean, yeah, he is tough to bring down. I saw him even in the first half. He was getting out of sacks. And I was like, "Yo, this man's crazy."
Yeah, he's like slapped together. He's not long. He's like a thicker quarterback. Even though he's not that tall, he's still got like that thickness to him. So he's not so easy. But I thought they were pretty good. I mean, I've seen a couple of things they've done. I think he's like a unique, I don't know him personally, but I think he's just from the outside observing, he's like a unique leader, like fiery guy, he's dynamic. He does make, like you said, he does make mistakes, and sometimes it costs them but I think it's because he does take chances. This is one of the things that I like versus when you watch, I don't know if the Giants don't let Daniel Jones take a chance or what, but the Giants take no chances. They take no chances. They give themselves no chances to score points, and then it's third down, and then they're going to throw the ball. No kidding, they're going to throw the ball on third down and long. I mean, obviously. So
you got to win first. Yeah, definitely winning first down is big.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And it's I wonder. I mean, you played obviously a long time in the NFL, a good amount of time there, and I'm curious if you see, when you were there, where sometimes you're like, like just let this guy go. You know what I mean? It's almost like I would say in coaching, it's like sometimes when you lose a game, when you win a game, it's the players. The players make the plays. You let them play, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you lose a game, it's like you're trying to rely on your coaching ability instead of trusting the guys to make plays that you're paying a lot of money to, right? You're paying a lot of money to these guys. Let them make plays.
Yeah, I'm not sure about. I mean, like the quarterback position is a little tricky. I mean, I played
Right.
in high school, but at the professional level, I can only see it from a defensive back perspective. And at safety, I have a pretty, decent perspective of the quarterback position. And so I would say certain quarterbacks, a lot of young quarterbacks, they're gonna do what I would say is in the playbook, right? So you can tell by formation and tendencies, kind of where the ball's gonna go, right? So that's a lot of the quarterbacks. There's other quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, where if you're in cover two, you better stay in your deep half because even if there's a certain play that they're running, there's a chance that he might do something else, right? So, a lot of the quarterbacks really have to play by the book. And when you get certain defenses who, communicate well and kind of know what they're doing, study film, it's really tough sledding for those quarterbacks. So that's why you really need a that guy at quarterback to make those deep runs. I would say.
I wanted to ask, I know because we have you for a limited time. New England and Chicago, it's very difficult when you have rookie quarterbacks. And we got to see two of the top three picks battle it out on Sunday. And New England shockingly came out with the win. Drake may be for real. What were your thoughts on Drake May, Caleb Williams?
I didn't watch too much of that game, but I saw the highlights, and obviously they've been showing a lot of Caleb Williams highlights versus Drake May's. Because I guess it's just been so bad they haven't scored a touchdown in 3 games, or he hasn't thrown a touchdown in 3 games, or he's been sacked I don't know how many times. So yeah, that looks bad. So I can answer that question. And Drake May, the highlights look like he was able to score some points, move the offense, and he surprised a lot of people.
Right.
Is that kind of because I wasn't able to really, really watch the game, but
Yeah, I mean, he was very efficient. He was smart with the football. He didn't turn it over, and I think that's what makes the difference. Chicago is regressing, unfortunately. But I mean, Drake only passed for 184 yards, but it was more than enough to win the game for him. And the Patriots haven't won in like 6 weeks. So it was a big win for them, a
nice.
big step back for Chicago. Um, that's what I saw. I don't know for sure who the better quarterback is right now. Drake, I mean, Caleb Williams obviously has more experience for the games that he started. Dave, you know quarterbacks pretty well.
Well,
What
I mean,
would
I
you
think it's
say
too
about
early
that?
to say who somebody's better than the other one, right?
Yeah, no,
I
it
think
is. It
I think
is.
you need more time. They have different skill sets, right? So what you say Caleb is better outside the pocket than May is, but so it's just really too early to tell. They haven't fully developed to say one is better than the other, I would say.
I got you. I got you. Dave, what were
I
your
mean,
thoughts
you can say Drake may look better, I would say,
for
than
this
Caleb
game?
Williams, right? But also coaching goes into a factor, teammates go into a factor. all that play calling style.
Yeah, no, for sure. You got to prepare. You got a game plan. You got a game plan around the talent that you do have. So I totally agree with that. And I think that New England went in with a better game plan for Drake May to simplify things for what he could do and be efficient with.
Mhm.
And I think he's going to do well. Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know how I am about quarterbacks. I always think that everybody rushes to judgment on, especially the young quarterbacks, way before we really know what they can do. And obviously, you could see that's what's going on in Minnesota, right? Everybody rushed to judgment on him when he was with the Jets, and look what he's doing now, right? So I think there's always an early rush to judgment. Who's better than this guy? Or there's different skill sets. Caleb Williams has had some great games, like really some games where he's lit it up, and he's had some games that have been, middle of the road struggle. And I think that's part of the maturation process of a quarterback is that they have to, in Andrew knows better than me, okay? But my assumption is that once you see somebody stop a quarterback with a certain system or way of stopping him, the defensive coaches are trying to replicate it within their system. So they can
copycat league. Copycat.
Right?
Yep. Same with offense.
Exactly, right? So it's the easiest thing probably to do, right? This team did it the week before or 2 weeks earlier. Let's see if we can do that within our system, try to replicate it. And if we can, great. If we don't, then we know next time we play him, we have to try something, different against him. But that's what I think what happens is, and I think Caleb Williams is going to adapt, and then he's going to retract, and then adapt and retract. That's part of the maturation process. I think Drake May is a different style of quarterback. Andrew talked about where, hey, he's going to play within a certain system. I think right now they're going to have him play within a certain system and then let his natural skill sets take over within the frame of the playbook. And I think he's doing that pretty well, which is why you see like kind of the numbers that he has that kind of, 15 for 25 for 184, 1 TD, 1 INT. Like those are numbers of a quarterback that's doing well. He's managing the game. He's not stepping outside of himself. They're not, they're not letting them kind of really take over the offense completely, but it enables them to win a game against a team like the Bears, who is week to week, like whether they're going to play well is 1 week, then the next week they struggle. And I think that's all part of it. I'm still obviously they have to play the quarterbacks now because you draft them high and they got, they're trying to get production out of them right away. But, when you have an opportunity to learn under somebody else that's really good, I think it helps quarterbacks last longer. Baker Mayfield's a great example of that. Like, I mean, he's basically kicked out of Cleveland, and look how good he's doing. You have to be in a system that works with your skill sets. You have to hope that the offensive coordinator and head coach understand what your skill sets are and adapt within their system as much as they can to your skill sets and whatever the rest of the team as well has, right? What kind of running back you have that makes a difference, what kind of offensive line you have. Obviously, the easiest thing when you watch like the Giants and Jets, the easiest thing to realize to watch is that a lot of times the offensive line is struggling, for whatever the reason is, whether somebody's hurt or the offensive line is struggling. And I don't care who you are at quarterback. If you don't have time to get rid of the football, it's going to be hard to be super accurate,
Yeah, need a line.
Especially because the defensive backs, I mean, there's not much time. You know this, right? There's a quarterback hesitates, that ball's picked. I mean,
yeah, for sure. No, it is picked. I wanted to ask you, Andrew, Buffalo, Indianapolis, Kansas City played Denver. Looking at the AFC, do you think Buffalo or Kansas City right now? I know Kansas City is obviously undefeated, but do you think that Buffalo or Kansas City, which one is the better team?
I need to watch more Buffalo.
Yeah, yeah. But you've seen KC.
I mean, yeah. Their defense is good. They have good coaches. And they have a great Yeah, I mean, I guess the best quarterback. But some people say he's not playing the best. But I mean, I wouldn't count him out. I would, if the Super Bowl was next week and the Chiefs were playing the Bills, I would go with the Chiefs.
Okay.
Would you go with the Bills?
Yeah, I like Buffalo. I like Josh Allen. I think he is
like
just
Josh
playing.
Allen. Yeah. I do. And
I think he's just a force, man.
I need to watch more of the team, I would say, so to speak.
Yeah. Dave, what are your thoughts?
That's the wife right there coming in, so it's about to get loud. So yeah.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Well, you can bounce whenever you need to. I just wanted to get your thoughts while we had you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So Bills versus KC.
I'm just saying, like, who do you think's the best in the AFC right now?
I mean, listen, until KC gets unseated as Super Bowl champs, you kind of, I don't care how close the games are. I mean, Denver played a great game. And Bo Nix is, I mean, he's really like one of, I think, really of the rookie quarterbacks. He's like, I would say a lot of people, even though he was obviously great at Oregon, I would say most people would probably say that's a surprise how well he's playing. He's playing at a really, really high level. So that, they had a chance to win that game. KC finds a way, just like Andrew said, the coaches are, it's an exceptional staff that's been together. They got a great defensive coordinator, maybe the best defensive coordinator, arguably in the NFL. And obviously Andy Reid is a fantastic offensive mind and head coach, and the way he runs things is fantastic. I think the Buffalo Bills have almost equal the organization, just has not gotten over, the hump there. But Josh Allen, obviously both guys are exceptional. You're talking arguably 1-2 at quarterback, in the NFL. So I think, I personally, just because in the NFL, it'd be great to see another team win the championship. Not that he isn't obviously fantastic, but it'd be great to see another team win the championship. I kind of am rooting for the Bills, even though I like the Chiefs. I absolutely love the Chiefs, but I love to see the Bills. What I thought was amazing is, even though they lost the Colts, that Flacco could still chuck the ball 35 times and throw for acres. Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I know. He just made a few key errors. I would say on interceptions, but he can still sling it, especially for his age. God bless him.
He must be
God bless him. He's 40. I think he just turned 40. So I was very impressed with his play. If he just limited those turnovers, but the Bills, I mean, they are just a force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
They with the running game they have with Cook and the pickup of Amari Cooper, they are really going to have a shot at winning I think they're going to end up being the number 1 seed. I think Kansas City's going to fall at some point. I think Kansas City is going to fall. They've been cutting it too close. I think it's going to bite them one of these times.
I mean, he's a great pass rusher, but like they're obviously neutralizing him now. He still has sacks, and but as far as to me, you got to be a complete player. You didn't run at Lawrence Taylor.
No.
Oh, by the way, he was going to sack you if you tried to pass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was going to get to you. I did have I spread some misinformation. Cooper Rush was 13 of 23 for 45 yards. He averaged 2 yards of completion. I mean,
Wonderful.
but don't you think that what's the harm in giving Trey Lance
I don't think there's
a,
any harm.
a little action?
They might want to grab somebody out of the stands, see if he can throw.
I think you're. I think it
It's
goes.
time to pack it up. Time to pack it up. Call it a season. Get out as soon as you can. Get a high draft pick. Rebuild. Maybe fire your general manager and your owner at the same time, and start anew.
Jerry Jones fires himself.
As bad as the Giants general manager has been, and we've seen the tragedy that he's put onto the Giants, I think Jerry Jones ranks high up there with how he just stood pat and expected this team to return and be more successful than where they were last year. After you saw what happened in the first round playoffs, horrible.
Yeah, I mean they were 12-5 and they got annihilated.
And
But
and the reason their defense is terrible is because they're not in a good mental state as a team. I mean, I'm sure there's in locker room grumblings. I'm sure there are people that aren't giving their full effort out there right now because the season's been lost. So, realistically, I think they're better than what they're showing on the field. But I think coaching continuity, which McCarthy's there. How is he stuck his finger in the dike to stop the bleeding? The owners, he's totally out in left field. He doesn't know what's going on. So really, where are the players getting their guidance from? Their position coach? I have no idea. So I think that's another reason his team continuity is out the window right now.
right. Now it's disappointing to see the America's team, and now it's your turn. I have to mention some news that may disappoint you. The Washington football Commanders / Redskins. I know you've been you're back on the reservation. They took a loss. They took a loss this past week, and it was a bit of a surprise. And people are beginning to throw the Pittsburgh Steelers in Super Bowl contention, playoff contention, all that good stuff. What were your thoughts on that game?
Well, I mean, first off the bat, Pittsburgh has proven this year so far to be a solid team. And now I think Russell Wilson has reawoken himself a little bit to actually give them a little more downfield presence, besides just relying on the run and defense. Number one, I mean that game. I actually watched that in a sports bar here on the resort, and it was horrible because we had to watch it from the red zone. They don't have any kind of direct NFL package here, so we just had to watch the red zone channel and catch information bits here or there because everything's soccer down there anyways. But I think Washington really had their chances. The fourth down call where Ertz, my God, I mean, he had the first down. I don't know how they marked that. I don't know how they're going to review it. I don't know what they're not seeing. So that really hurt because they had a chance to go up. They're only down by one. Then the offsides that gets called on the Skins, which gives Pittsburgh a first down and seals the game. Brown dropping a touchdown in the first half in the end zone. All these things seem to add up. So if you're really on the cusp of being a championship team, those things have to be lock solid as total successes for you to have success. Now, granted, they're 7-3, man. They're probably still the best team in the East. If not, they'll be a playoff contender without a doubt. And you got to give the Steelers credit. I mean, they scored enough points to win. Both teams scored enough points to win. Back and forth, the 1 point game. It is what it is. It's a great game.
I agree with you completely. Dave, what were your thoughts on this? Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson is looking like the Russell Wilson of old. He's executing the play action passing game very well. throwing the ball sky high. He's very efficient. They're running the ball well. They're playing tough defense. They're looking like the Steelers of old. This was a huge win for them. Do you see their ceiling being making the playoffs, making a run, winning a playoff game, going to the semifinals or the AFC finals?
I don't know if I go that far.
Yeah.
I think they're every year he puts together a team that's a playoff team. I think Russell Wilson has had an exceptional year. I'm guessing Sierra doesn't subscribe to the 4B thing, so that helps him. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but have you heard about it, Frank?
They're shaving their heads and they're putting bracelets on. They're abstaining from everything. It's great.
Yes, they're withholding sex and everything like that.
They're saving America one hump at a time.
Yes. So I'm guessing Sierra said no to that. So he's in good shape. He's in a good mood. He's gonna chuck some touchdowns. So but yeah, I think he looks great. He really does look great.
He does. He looks rejuvenated.
Yeah, it's quarterbacks are an interesting breed of human being. I think obviously he was one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. Goes to Denver. That wasn't really a good fit. Let's ride wasn't really the thing, and now he comes here with Tomlin, and it looks like it's working out. He really does. When you see it, like wow, he has that potential. He's a seasoned quarterback in the sense that he's going to be able to make more plays if he's rolling because he's going to be able to see the field. He's going to be able to make more decisions on the field. It's an advantage to an experienced quarterback like him. Obviously, he's still a good athlete. He can still do some of those things too. And Tomlin's an excellent head coach. I look at it like this. It's interesting. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are under some pressure to get back to the top. So even though Tomlin has obviously been in the playoffs basically year in and year out, there's rumblings of like, okay, this guy is obviously in a Hall of Fame head coach, one of the best head coaches in the NFL. But I think the Steeler faithful is like, hey, let's get back there because they get into a weird situation otherwise. Like if they make a run, they lose again. He makes the playoffs every year. You're going to be in a situation where it's not like Tomlin's old. He's not old.
No, he's not. He got the job. He was one of the younger head coaches.
Yeah, he could be there for 10 more years, right? And
easily, yeah.
They'll make the playoffs every single year. If they're not able to get over the hump, the question becomes do like they ever come to a point where they're going to ever take a risk. I don't ever see it happening. Just knowing the Steelers and their history of head coaches, they rode Chuck Noll to the very, 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 very end. Until basically he was ready to retire. They probably had that conversation with him that it was time to retire. And I think they'll do the same thing with Tomlin. But it's very interesting because this is a team that has probably the capabilities to have a shot. They definitely have the capabilities to have a shot. It just the conference they're in, like how are they getting there?
No, I hear you.
You got to look at it and you got to say we talked about the lack of coaching continuity with Dallas. The coaching continuity with Pittsburgh allows for a guy like Russell Wilson to step in and actually be successful. They're solid in what they do. Their plan never really changes that much. The defense rules in that city. And someone like Russell who had some time, he's 36, but he's still got gas in the tank. There's a guy who does play action passing, does exactly what they want him to do. So, I also think right now we've seen that I think Justin Fields now will be a career number 2 guy. And he'll have a long career. He'll make some money being a number 2 guy, but I think he's a career number 2 guy at this point. I've seen enough film on him right now where he can't find number 2 on the field. So he's going to be number 2 on the bench. But I think Pittsburgh's situation is great. It's easier for veterans to walk in there and assimilate really quickly because the plan is already in place. They're not looking for a player to come in and actually uh, uh, be the focus of the entire offense or defense. They're looking for a veteran player to come in and stabilize maybe a position and allow them to have success in the long term. So I think it's a great fit. I think they look good.
All right, so transitioning, I wanted to get your thoughts. There was an article on ESPN previewing the 2024 college football transfer portal market. It starts 4 weeks from today, but the difference is revenue sharing is going to be the part of it. Is this going to be the craziest transfer cycle we've seen of all time? Everyone is
revenue.
They get part of the television revenue. So the reported cap, they're going to get $20 million per school that the athletic departments can distribute to student athletes next year. It means
so. What did they do? What did they do with that money before?
They
the
never
TV
got
money was always there.
The school kept all the television money. The kids never got any of it. So Power 4 programs that can fully fund revenue sharing could be spending upward of $15 million just on their football roster next season. The group of 5 are hoping to spend maybe $2 to $3 million, and what it means for the transfer market. The Power 4 programs with well-run NIL collectives and college football ambitions were already investing $10 to $20 million to build up their 2024 teams. Recruiting staffers at those contender schools expect more teams in their conferences to keep pace going forward. And one Big 12 director of player personnel said, I feel this is going to be the last big window for everyone. Everyone's going to have money in the same or similar amount of money. You just won't see people moving around as much. You'll see group of 5 transfers to the Power 5 conferences for sure, but it's not going to be the same because teams will have the money to keep the players. They're going to have that added revenue from TV. So, Dave, you're the expert in all this. How do you see it shaking out?
Well, one thing I disagree with is I think you're going to continue to see movement because if I'm a group of 4, whatever the hell, what do they call it?
Group of 5, yeah.
Group of 5 player. I run for 15 touchdowns. Is Boise State a group of 5, or are they in a no?
I think they're in the Mount. Are they in the Mountain West or Big 12? Yeah,
maybe they're in the Big 12 now. I don't know.
I think they joined the Big 12, but I'll double check.
You get some of these players that have a great year. They're gonna move up. There's still gonna be movement up. I mean, there's gonna be movement up, and there's gonna be movement down because they're gonna get rid of guy. Why would I pay a guy who's not doing a job? Gone.
Boise State is in the Mountain West. Yeah.
Okay, so let's use the best running back in the country as an example of that.
Yeah. Right.
Genty's a junior, right? I think he has one more year after this. He's probably going to go to the NFL. But let's say someone said, "I'll give you $10 million to come to Ohio State." They now have Genty, so you're going to have that movement, and I think you're going to have movement. Why would I pay a third string running back or a third string lineman, whatever I have to pay in revenue sharing if he's not doing a job? He's gone. He's absolutely positively gone. Would you keep him? I wouldn't keep him. Okay.
Well, we'll talk more about it.
Want him. Nobody wants that guy. Okay. So there's going to be a continuous. This is an arms race. The players are going to move where there's more financial cap. And is NIL going to go away? No. So you're going to get the money that you're getting from revenue sharing, which I'm guessing is split among the players. So everybody gets their salary. And then the good players are going to get
Well,
money. You
yeah.
get FPL. I mean, that's not going to change. The arms race for facilities is not going to change. Or is someone going to build as good a facility in football as Oregon can? I doubt it. So is there a coincidence that Oregon is number? It took them time. They needed the big conference. Now that they're in it, they're in the Big Ten now, right? They needed the big conference, but once Oregon got in the big conference, now the amount of money they have, they're able to do more with recruits because it's a much more of a national presence versus being in the pack, whatever it was, 8, 10, 12, I don't know. Well, but that's so. Is anyone going to compete with them? Compete with Ohio State? Compete with Georgia? Compete with Texas? Compete with Alabama facility-wise? Look,
Right.
And places like Indiana, who's doing great right now, they're going to have to come up with a boatload of money next year to continue that. It's not going to be a flat thing. I mean, everybody in the country is going to want to hire their head coach, and they will pay any amount of money to get Kurt Cignetti. You could bet your bottom dollar that they'll I don't know what they're giving them, 50, 60 million over 7 years. You can bet one of those big schools, wherever struggling, is going to go and say, I'll buy out that contract and then pay him $100 million to get him. That's what's going to happen.
No, I agree. I agree with you. There's just so much money now when you combine the collectives with the colleges actually paying kids money based off the television revenue. It's going to be outrageous. Frank, what are your thoughts?
Hey, remember when we were doing we were part of a professional football league that was starting up to develop players for
Yeah,
the
the
NFL?
UNGL.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
UNGL. Yeah, we were part of that. Remember? Well,
Yeah,
basically, that's what college football is. That's what college football is there. I mean, it's all money right now. How can you speculate? I agree with everything Dave said because I have no evidence to not agree with what Dave said. I mean, there's just so many different directions this could go because there's so much money out there. I mean, how do you balance it out? How do you figure how the thought process of? I do think one thing will help. I think winning games will be the only way to make the difference in attracting that top athlete because unfortunately even with the amount of money that's out there, kids coming out want to play for a winner. They don't want to go to a team that's 1-9 even if they do have the cash. So I think winning or tradition of winning will make a little bit of a difference to separate the ones from the 1As. But after that, man, like you said, it's the wild, wild west. And when the money flows, it's incredible. And not just players, coaches, staff, everybody's, it's like a roulette wheel. You just drop that ball in there and let it spin around. Where you land, you land.
Dave, I would also like to talk with you briefly about the Alabama LSU game. That was just a shocker. Not really a shocker. I'm not big into LSU, but Alabama really took care of business, and LSU actually got fined $250,000 for fans throwing bottles, debris during the game Saturday night. And Ole Miss got fined as well. But LSU losing to Alabama, do you think Alabama still has a chance in the SEC to win the conference, go to the conference title?
Well, of creativity, by the way, of throwing things on the field, Texas Tech, when they played Colorado, threw tortillas. So I thought that was creative. And then Shedeur Sanders signed one of the tortillas.
He did?
Yes.
Brilliant.
He's a temperamental guy. He gets angry about stuff, but in a rare, lighthearted moment after he was mad that they were throwing tortillas on the field, he decided to side one. But anyway,
Right.
Alabama. So, first of all, I think Alabama looked really good, but I think it was more that LSU looked bad. So that's what shocked me. I actually picked LSU thinking there's no way Brian Kelly is going to allow that team to get another loss. And it looked like the team had nothing to them, especially game was close a little bit early on. There were some tough calls, didn't go their way. But the biggest thing, I couldn't believe I was rewinding the plays when Jalen Milroe was running the QB draws. I was running. I don't know if that was an RPO, meaning QB draw throw, but he took off pretty quick for me to think that it was an RPO. I really think he was really just taking off. I couldn't believe the way that LSU was playing it. They were dropping the inside linebacker into a wide hook to curl spot every time he dropped a pass. All that he was doing was as soon as he dropped, he just took off and replaced him. It was crazy. And they did it every single time this guy was dropping. They were doing like a zone blitz, right? And they would drop the zone to one side. They were manning the other side, bringing but all he was looking. I mean, when you get athletes like this guy is, again, it's amazing how a coach can go at that high a level, can go through a scheme and think that Jalen Milroe can't look at the middle linebacker and see him drop and know, good, he drops to his zone, take off, go. I mean, and when he's taking off, he's a legit 4.40 guy. I don't know, maybe faster. Supposedly he's the fastest guy in Alabama's team. So at 200 and what does he weigh? 220 pounds?
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Big guy. And he's gone. I mean, he did it over. And once they saw them do it and he scored the first time off of it, anytime they got in the spot, they just ran a QB draw, literally a QB draw, Frank. A QB draw. It was nothing other than that.
Dave, Brian Kelly blows.
Yeah, you've never liked Brian Kelly.
His staff blows. Anyone that would work for Brian Kelly blows. You're telling me as a coordinator, right? Even as a linebacker coach, anybody, nobody's whispering in his ear, the D coordinator, hey man, maybe we should spy this guy. Maybe we take a guy and wherever Milrose goes, that's where we go. They didn't have that in the game plan. That would be that would be game plan number one. How do we take away the quarterback and make everyone else have to work harder to beat us? Usually, you take away the best thing that team has. Milroe makes that team go, whether you want to believe it or not. I mean, he does. And to not put a spy on that guy to stop him from the run game it's stupid. That's why Kelly blows.
It makes no sense why they would have been better off taking a chance of playing man and stacking the box for the running backs and Milroe. And just say, hey, you know what? If he's going to beat us passing, he beats us passing. And he can pass, and that's a possibility. But at least you have that to me, see, coaches, man, sometimes they just get in their own way.
They do.
Literally get in their own way. It's like, I have a brilliant scheme. I'm going to zone blitz and fool them. And it's like it's like Alabama doesn't have a guy up top in the booth saying, dude, their linebacker is dropping. He's literally abandoning the box every time you go to a pass to the trip side. To the trip side, that guy would get so wide on so wide. It's crazy. And the crazy part is, I don't know if this defensive end was doing it on his own or that was their plan, but whatever it wasn't working. The defensive end was going inside. So he wasn't even making him run an actual draw up the B gap, okay? He was actually going inside, blitzing stunting the B gap, and Jalen Milroe would just come around, and there was literally, you could drive a truck through it. Tom Brady could have gained 15 yards a clip in that. Crazy.
And their offense really underplayed. They look horrible. Nussmeier looked terrible. I mean, there's a guy that they touted as, boy, he can't run like Jalen Daniels, but man, he can do everything else. The guy can't hit the side of a mountain in a critical game. So what are they getting out of him? So their offense is atrocious.
No, they were for sure.
they were daring him to run. They don't let Nussmeier take off. They're daring him to take off. He could have just taken off and ran. It's almost like Brian Kelly just strikes me as a guy that tells, other than Jaden Daniels, because he could obviously do everything and he let him go. He let him be free. But he strikes me as any guy that he doesn't think could do everything like Jaden Daniels could. He puts them in a box. This is what you're going to do. And, I mean, Nussmeier could have taken off for acres at a clip. They did not care if he ran. It's not like he's a bad athlete. He's actually a decent athlete. But
Brian Kelly strikes me as a guy who would be called one word, two syllables, asshole. That's Brian Kelly.
Nice, Frank. That's nice. That's a nice description of Brian Kelly.
Exclamation point right there, Frank.
Absolutely.
And just quickly, Dave, your thoughts, the BYU Utah ending with the penalty. I don't know if you saw it or not. There was a penalty that extended the drive. Frank, did you see it?
I saw the
I did see the play.
Or hear about it?
I did see the play. I saw that last drive.
And Whittingham went off the officials.
I mean, realistically, a fourth down play. The quarterback gets sacked on the 1 yard line, but the flag just pops out of nowhere. Yeah, things replayed it. Is there contact? There's not enough contact to call it. I don't think so. But you know what? It got called. You got to play on. So they get a first down, and now BYU gets a 25-yard completion after that. I mean, you got to make your plays on the field. If the refs made a bad call, they made a bad call. Everybody it's always about, listen, the Commanders lose, and everyone says, well, the referees.
Some the Commanders.
I know, I have to. I'm in Dominican Republic. I don't want to get reported. So they said the money, the 70% of the money, betting money, was on Washington. So the refs are fixing the game. Everyone's like, oh, BYU, the money's on BYU. The Utah, they're fixing the game against Utah. It's a good fixing. The refs just messed it up, man. It is what it is, but you got to play on. You still had chances to stop.
Yeah, you could have finished the game.
Getting in the scoring range. Yeah, it is what it is. I thought it was a great back and forth game. I think BYU is legit. I'm surprised how. I mean, if you can hang with Utah, although Utah's had an up and down season, you can hang with Utah. You're legit. So, good for them.
Yeah. So we'll go quickly into some picks for college football for this week. And I was looking, and there's not a ton of great games available to choose from, but I wanted to go with Boston College and SMU. SMU's ranked 13th. BC's coming off a win against Syracuse. It's at SMU. SMU's on the roll.
SMU, Steve. SMU. Go on. Next.
SMU's minus 16.5. Dave?
Who's SMU playing again?
BC. SMU's minus 16.5.
Against BC? They're favored by 16.5?
Yeah. SMU's ranked 13th in the country.
I know that.
SMU is legit.
I know they're legit. I watched their game against who did Pittsburgh?
They might have. Yeah.
They're legit. 16.5, I'm not so sure about. So I think SMU will win the game. I don't know about 16.5.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Clemson is at Pittsburgh. Clemson is ranked 23rd in the country. Pittsburgh's ranked 18th. Clemson is minus 10 away going to Pittsburgh. Frank?
Trap game here, but I'll still take Clemson minus 10.
Clemson minus 10. Okay. I will also take Clemson. And I would have taken SMU as well. Dave, Clemson or Pitt?
Clemson.
Actually, I changed my pick. I want to go with Pitt. I like Pitt. I like Pitt at home. I like the way they run the ball. I'll take Pitt. And then for our final pick, we will go with I wanted Utah. Utah is playing at Colorado, ranked number 20th, Colorado. Utah is going to, obviously have a little chip on their shoulder. Colorado is -10 at home, and it's actually a noon game at Colorado. So, geez, what is that, like 11 a.m. there?
10 a.m.
11 a.m. start time, 10 a.m.? Yeah. So, Frank, who do you like here?
I'll take, if it's a 10-point spread, I'll take Utah +10.
You take Utah +10. Okay. Dave?
Colorado wins, but I think Utah covers it.
Yeah, very true.
I can't believe I'm going to say this because I definitely last year hated on them all year long. But I'm going to go with Colorado. I
hated on them all year long.
They beat Texas Tech. They took it to Texas Tech. Texas Tech had a big win last week. I was impressed with the way they took it to them. I think they may be good enough. I mean, it's amazing their defense.
They turn things around.
There's a good example of some good hires.
I think it's the beard too.
Maybe, but I thought he took. I wouldn't have known that this would have been a good chance to take. But Warren Sapp turned out to be a great person to have coaching the team defensive line.
You said that, yeah.
Not just his knowledge, because from being, but really, obviously, he has the ability to teach it, and he's a motivating person. So I would have been a skeptic of that hire, but it really worked out well. He's got a guy like that. I can't think of the pro guy that he has helping in the offense. I think they're all analysts, but they're coaching the position.
Yeah.
The line is, I can't think of the name of the guy, but he's also a guy that was like a 10-year pro as an offensive. And I honestly, I think that those two positions were the worst positions by far on the field for them, and they are by far the most improved. So, and Shedeur Sanders, I hated on him last year. The things I didn't like, I'll tell you, he's good. He makes throws. He puts the ball in position, and he's underrated as a runner. He really, really underrated as a runner. He's going to change the way that dads coach their kids from this point forward. Every dad's going to be a college coach now. So, but yeah, no, it really is. I have to go with Colorado. I can't not go with Colorado. I be the contrarian.
I'm going to go with Colorado as well.
Here's what I'm going to say right now. Mark it down. I don't know what the day is, but the Cowboys at the end of the season will trade Dak Prescott to the Carolina Panthers for Bryce Young and a first-round pick, their first pick in the draft. Then they'll turn around and trade Bryce Young somewhere for some compensatory picks. And then in turn with the first pick, take Shedeur Sanders as their number one draft pick at quarterback. And the day after they do that, they will sign Deion Sanders as their head coach.
Wow, that is a lot of moving parts right there, Frank.
Yes,
a lot of moving parts, but we'll see what happens.
To predict that, you tell me the casino that you want me to meet you at, and I am going to be there because I'm like, this guy can't do wrong. He cannot do wrong. Yeah. If he nails that, I am going wherever Frank says to go at any time. I will follow.
I just don't know the workings of Prescott's contract, but I'm assuming he can be traded. Maybe there's no trade clause, but I would assume, listen, they could dump him on Carolina. Carolina love to have a veteran quarterback that can, run the show, and he's had success, but not success that Dallas wants. And they want to get rid of Bryce Young, and there's a number one pick out there. As long as he can guarantee himself Shedeur Sanders at pick number one, they'll trade their fifth pick or whatever they're going to have for the first, along with Sanders. I think that's a possibility. And then for all along, I think Deion Sanders is going to be the Cowboys coach. That's just my feeling.
It says that Dak Prescott, and I got this direct from Google AI Overview, which is their whole new thing. It says he has a no trade clause unless he consents. Yeah. So if he's willing to go, they can waive the clause and they can make a deal. So that
is how it can get done. I mean, listen, would Dak want to get out of there? He may.
With the pressure.
That's my feeling. That's my feeling. He wants to get out. Hey, he could turn a Carolina team around to a 500 team, and they'd love him.
Love him. They would love him. He
for
made
sure.
Playoffs there. He's a hero.
For sure.
Carolina's owner is a moron.
All right. So this has been another spirited episode of Moneyline on 97.9 Unity Radio. We'd like to mention our sponsor at the 42nd Brew Co., Kingston, Massachusetts. They have a variety of Pilsners, IPAs, and lagers. A wonderful ambiance, a beautiful tasting room. If you're looking for something to do, head on down to Kingston and see what they have at the 42nd Brew Co. Stephen Darby, former teammate and friend, is part owner. And we will be moving on to Rebel Republic shortly. So for the
Steve, you know what they call beer in the Dominican Republic?
No.
Cerveza.
Cerveza. Frank's in the Dominican Republic. Frank, can I run Tony's for the next 2 days? If I go down there, can I say I'm in charge?
No, I have no fire insurance, so Steve, I got to keep away from that.
Dave, don't you think I should be allowed to run Tony's for the next 2 days? It'd be like that show, where they let people run other people's businesses just to see how they
like
do.
That show, Chicago Fire. That's what it'd be like. That show, Chicago Fire.
Dave, that's not fair. That's not fair. All right. For the coach, Dave Schuman, remember, Coach Schuman, the YouTube channel. This will appear on there. Go to his channel, hit the subscribe button. We have to get to 1 million followers. That is our goal. The Coach Schuman Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel. Smash that subscribe button, and you'll win $1 million. So for the coach and the next greatest influencer himself, and Frank Cristiano, the self-proclaimed voice of reason, I am Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. This has been 97.9 Unity Radio, Moneyline. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and